So now we will see chemical classification of matter. Matter is classified into mixtures and pure substance according to chemical classification. Pure substances and mixtures. So first we will see about mixtures. So mixtures can be classified into homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. So what are homogeneous mixtures? Homogeneous mixtures, this mixture contains two or more components. Components means compounds present in the mixture, which are completely mixed with each other to form a single phase system or uniform composition system. Single phase system or uniform composition system. Uniform composition. Uniform composition. Uniform composition. So example, air, sugar solution is example for homogeneous mixture. So I'll explain what is uniform composition. So for example, if I take some quantity of water in a bowl, suppose this is a 1000 ml water, I have taken in a bowl 1000 ml water. So now I am adding some quantity of sugar. How much quantity of sugar I am adding? Suppose some x grams, it contains suppose 1000 sugar molecules. How many sugar molecules? 1000 sugar molecules I have added to 1000 ml of water. Sugar completely dissolved in this water and it will form a homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture means, for example, if you take this top layer, suppose for example, if you take this top layer from here, suppose this is some 20 ml. From top layer you have taken 20 ml. 20 ml you have taken from top layer, and similarly from bottom layer you have taken 20 ml. So uniform composition means 1000 sugar particles dissolved in 1000 ml, means per ml one sugar molecule dissolved. So 20 ml if you take from top part, it should contain 20 molecules of sugar. So if you take from bottom also, it should contain 20 molecules of sugar. If it is like this, then we can say the mixture is homogeneous mixture and uniform composition throughout the mixture. And homogeneous mixtures also called as solutions. Homogeneous mixtures. Homogeneous mixtures also called as solutions. Also called as solutions. Remember, heterogeneous mixtures we should not call as solutions, but homogeneous mixtures we can call as solution. So we can say this is sugar solution. Next, we will see what is a heterogeneous mixture. What is heterogeneous mixture? So now, heterogeneous mixture. This mixture contains two or more components like homogeneous mixtures, but they are not uniformly mixed and the system contains more than one phase. So example, mixture of salt and sugar, oil and water, and sand and water we can say. So let me explain this. So here I have taken same container and water in this container So now I am adding sand. So before I have added sugar, now I am adding sand. So after adding sand, sand won't dissolve in water, we know that. So these sand particles, settled at the bottom of the container like this. Sand particles settled at the bottom of the container. Suppose any few sand particles are there, means they can move like this. Okay. So now, if I take, suppose I have added some 1000 sand particles in 1000 ml, like previous example. So if I take top layer from this, as well as bottom layer from this, same 20 ml. 20 ml I have taken from top layer, from bottom layer also 20 ml I have taken. So this 20 ml contains more number of particles, no doubt, because more sand present at the bottom. So suppose 20 ml contains, suppose 100 particles. This 20 ml may contain only 10, because less sand particles here. So this is not uniform in nature. So this type of mixtures are called as heterogeneous mixtures. Okay, next. So I hope you are clear about homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. Now we'll see about pure substances. So according to chemical classification, so you know I have shown flowchart, again I will show flowchart. According to chemical classification, matter can be divided into pure substances and mixtures. We have seen about these mixtures, homogeneous and heterogeneous. Now we are going for pure substances. So what is pure substance and how to divide pure substance, that and all we will discuss this part. So this part we will discuss now. So pure substances have a single component and have fixed composition. So this is important, single component, or you can say one type of atoms or molecules and have fixed composition. For example, if you take glucose has carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. What is the glucose formula? C6H12O6. So C6H12O6. C6H12O6. So now, if you take mass ratio or moles ratio, so you will get 12:2:16, because 6 carbon atoms weight, 12 hydrogen atoms weight, and 6 oxygen atoms weight. If you take, you will get 12:2:16. This is fixed. Whatever the source of glucose, whether we are preparing in laboratory or you are getting naturally, this composition remains fixed. The type of substances are called as pure substances. Now, pure substances classified into two types, elements and compounds. So we'll see about elements. So what are elements? An element consists of only one type of atoms, which may be in atomic form or molecular form. Element means contains only one type of atoms. This is key point for element, one type of atoms. An example, suppose if I take iron rod, one iron rod, this iron rod contains, suppose if it is pure iron, only iron atoms. It is made up of only iron atoms, iron rod, no other type of atom. For example, if I take hydrogen gas, so in a container, hydrogen gas made up of hydrogen molecules. So only hydrogen molecules present in this container. only hydrogen molecules. So hydrogen is element, but it is exists in the form of molecular form. It is exists in the form of molecular form. So iron also element, but it is exist in the form of atomic form. This is atom, this is molecule. So that's why they given, so which may be in the atomic form or in molecular form. Example, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, like that. So there are many elements in our periodic table. So all the periodic table elements are example for this. Next, what are compounds? Compounds consist of more than one type of atom which exists in the form of molecules. So compound contains more than one kind of atoms. Example, water. So you know water, H2O, molecular formula is H2O. Suppose if I take a glass of water, so in this glass of water there are many H2O molecules. Many H2O molecules. No doubt water is a pure substance because this glass of water contains only one kind of particles, those are water molecules. But this water molecule contains more than one kind of atoms. That's why this compound said to be, this substance said to be compound. So the compound have different physical and chemical properties compared to that of constant elements. Compounds have different physical and chemical properties compared to that of constant elements. Example, if you take this water only. So water formed from H2 and O2. So here H2 is combustible gas, O2 is supporter of combustion. But this H2O property is completely different from their constant elements. So water is not combustible, not supporter of combustion also. So like that, compounds have different physical and chemical properties compared to that of constant elements. Next, the elements in the compound cannot be separated by any physical methods. So the elements present in the compound cannot be separated by any physical methods. Suppose H2O is there, by using physical methods like filtration or heating or this type of methods, we can't separate hydrogen oxygen. But by using any chemical methods or electrical methods, we can separate hydrogen oxygen from water. So through physical methods, we can't separate the elements from compounds. Next, measurement of matter. Properties of matter and their measurement. So I can write properties of matter. Props means properties. Properties of matter and their measurement. And measurement of properties of matter. Now, so let me take new page. Properties of matter mainly classified into two types. One is physical properties, second one is chemical properties. So physical properties, this is physical properties and chemical properties. What are physical properties? These physical properties can be observed without change in composition of the substance. For example, if you want to measure density of water or mass of water, you no need to change the composition of water. So if you want to measure volume of water, you no need to change composition of water. So like that, the properties which are observed without change in composition of substance are called as physical properties. What are the examples for physical properties? So we can say color, so color, next volume, next density. So there are many, etc. So what about chemical properties? Chemical properties. Suppose if you want to check whether compound is combustible or not, what you have to do? You have to burn it. If you burn it, no doubt there is a chemical change. The compound may convert into other compound or elements after burning. So to observe chemical properties, we have to change the composition. So the observations by changing composition called as chemical properties. Example, combustibility, acidity, basicity means basic nature. So there are many. So like this, properties can be divided into physical properties and chemical properties. So now these properties are measurable. So we can measure density, we can measure volume. So color intensity we can measure, bright or less, like that we can measure color also, intensity is more or not. So this about measurement is important. What is measurement? Measurement nothing but a number followed by unit. So what is the measurement? So measurement means a number followed by unit. Suppose length of room equal to 6 meters. 6 is number here, m is unit, that is meter. What is the importance of units? Suppose without units, if you want to measure a length of board, there are two persons, suppose me and some ex-student. So I am measuring board by using my hand length. So I will say the board length is 5 hands according to me. Suppose if student measures the board length, he may get 6 hands. So who is correct? 6 hands or 5 hands? According to student, he is correct. According to me, I am correct. So there is no clarity. So without units, measurement of any physical quantity or chemical quantity is very difficult. That's why they have introduced a unit system. According to SI unit system, there are some basic units, 7 basic units, and remaining units are derived units. We will see that part now. So measurement of matter. Properties of matter such as mass, volume, area, length, quantitative in nature. So all these properties are physical properties. In order to measure these properties, certain system of units has to be followed. So according to International System of Units, that is the SI system of units, the most common system used in the worldwide. So according to this system, there are 7 basic units also called as fundamental quantities. So length, quantity, and name of the unit is meter, and the symbol of the unit is m. Next, mass, kilogram, SI unit, kg is symbol. Next, time, second, and symbol is S. Electric current will measured in amperes and the symbol is A. Temperature, Kelvin is SI unit and symbol is K. Amount of substance, the mole, so very important in chemistry as well as in physics. So amount of substance, mole, MOL is symbol. Next, luminous intensity, that is candela, CD. So first 6 we'll use frequently and last one luminous intensity. So we'll get rarely and we'll get in higher standards. Okay. Next, what are derived units? So I have given 7 basic units. So derived units means the units which are derived from these fundamental units are called derived units. Quantities like density, volume, pressure are expressed by using derived units. Suppose density, mass by volume. So how to calculate volume? Length cube, nothing but volume. So volume is derived unit, which is derived from a basic unit, that is length, and density is derived unit because it is derived from a basic unit mass and a derived unit, that is volume. So this type of units are called as derived units. And sometimes you will see, so density, for example, generally gram per centimeter cube, and density kg per meter cube. Kg per meter cube means kg SI system, meter cube also SI system. So kg per meter cube is SI unit of density. And what about gram per centimeter cube? This is CGS system. CGS system. Centimeter, gram and second system. So next, multiples and fractions used in SI units. Multiples and fractions used in SI units. So you have to remember this. 10 means deca. 10 means deca. 10 power minus 1 means deci. Deca, deci. Suppose 10 power 3 means kilo. 10 power minus 3 means milli. So 10 power 12 means tera. 10 power minus 12 means pico. Similarly, 10 power 9 means giga. 10 power minus 9 means nano. So all these multiples you have to remember. So it's very important, these multiples. During solving numericals, this data is very important to understand problem and to convert one unit to another unit. Next. So some important quantities and their meaning and units. First one is mass and weight. You know, mass is actual quantity of substance present in a matter is called as mass. So weight is, it is force exerted on the substance due to gravity. So mass is always constant. Weight may vary place to place because gravity will be different at different places. So we can say mass is a scalar quantity, but weight is vector quantity. And mass of substance is the amount of matter present in it, and weight is force exerted due to gravity on the substance. The SI unit of mass of the substance is kilogram. 1 kilogram equal to how many grams? 1000 grams. So let me give more relations here. It's very important. Now 1 kg equal to 1000 grams, and 1 gram equal to, we can say 1000 grams means 10 cube grams. 1 gram equal to how many milligrams? 1000 milligrams. Many members will think 100 milligrams. No, that is 1000 milligrams, 10 cube milligrams. So generally gold measured in milligrams in gold shops. So be careful, 1000 milligrams nothing but 1 gram. So now 1 kg, from those relations we can write 1 kg equal to 10 cube grams, that equal to 10 power 6 milligrams. So you have to remember this relation. So for conversions in numericals. Next. So this is about mass and weight. Next one is volume. So volume is product of length, breadth and height of the container. So length cube nothing but volume. So SI unit of volume is meter cube. Smaller volumes are measured quite often and the unit centimeter cube or decimeter cube are used. So very common unit used to measure the volume is liters. Suppose if you want to ask milk, if you ask I want 1 decimeter cube, the shop person will see you in different way. So decimeter cube also a unit for volume, but you should not ask in decimeter cubes, because very common unit to measure volume is liters. So you have to follow sometimes common unit system. So common unit means popularly using unit. Okay. So now if you want to ask milk, you have to ask in liters, 1 liter, half liter, 2 liters, like that. So now what is the relation between these units? We will see. 1 meter equal to 10 decimeters. 10 decimeters. 1 decimeter equal to 10 centimeters. So now I will give an important relation. 1 centimeter cube equal to 1 ml. 1 centimeter cube equal to 1 ml. Now we see 1 liter equal to how many ml? 1000 ml. 1000 ml means we can write 10 cube ml. Final conclusion from this. So that is 1 meter cube equal to 10 cube decimeter cube. 10 cube decimeter cube. So 1 decimeter cube equal to 10 cube centimeter cube. 10 cube centimeter cube. 10 cube centimeter cube. So I am using digital pen, that's why writing is new for me, that's why writing is not coming properly. Just you try to understand. Yeah. 10 cube centimeter cube, and 1 centimeter cube I have written 1 ml, that's why 1 decimeter cube we can write 10 cube ml. So from these I can write 1 liter equal to 10 cube ml. 10 cube ml means 10 cube centimeter cube. 10 cube centimeter cube means 10 cube centimeter cube. 10 cube centimeter cube means 10 cube, sorry, 1 liter. 10 cube centimeter cube means 1 decimeter, 1 decimeter cube, 1 decimeter cube. This is 1 decimeter cube, 1 decimeter cube. So 1 decimeter cube equal to 10 power minus 3 meter cubes. 1 decimeter cube equal to 10 power minus 3 meter cubes, because 1 meter cube equal to 10 cube decimeter cube. So final relation you have to remember. So I am marking this final relation. So this final relation you have to remember, because we will use this relation in many numericals. So very important, very important relation. Okay, now so this is about volume. Then we will go for next quantity, that is density. So what is density? Density is mass by volume. A ratio of its mass to its volume is called as density. Density equal to mass by volume. So SI unit of density, SI unit of mass by SI unit of volume, that is kg per meter cube. Then density of the substance are also expressed in gram per centimeter cubes. So relation between gram per centimeter cube and kg per meter cube is given here. So how we will get this relation, I'll explain. See, 1 kg by meter cube. 1 kg equal to how many grams? 10 cube grams. 1 meter cube equal to how many centimeter cubes? 10 power 6 centimeter cubes. You have seen already. So if 10 power 6 goes up, it becomes 10 power minus 6. So 10 power 3 into 10 power minus 6 gram per centimeter cube. So 10 power 3, 10 power minus 6. Bases are same, so you can add exponents. So 10 power minus 3, you will get gram per centimeter cube. So kg per meter cube equal to 10 power minus 3 gram per centimeter cube, or we can write in reverse manner also, gram per centimeter cube equal to this 10 power minus 3 will be denominator, then it goes up means it becomes 10 power 3. So 10 power 3 kg per meter cube. So this is a relation they given here. So in this slide they given density relation. Okay, next temperature. So temperature, the common used units for temperature. There are three important scales. One is degree Celsius scale, another one is Fahrenheit, degree Fahrenheit scale, and Kelvin scale. So what is the relation between these scales? Here Kelvin scale and degree Celsius scale. One Kelvin scale temperature equal to degree Celsius scale temperature plus 273.15. Fahrenheit, degree Fahrenheit equal to 9 by 5 into degree Celsius temperature plus 32. So I'll give you some examples here, you can understand better. For example, what is human body temperature? Human body temperature. Human body temperature. What is human body temperature? That is 37 degrees Celsius. 37 degrees Celsius. So if you want to convert this degree Celsius into Kelvin and Fahrenheit, just use the formulas. So Kelvin temperature equal to 37 plus 273.15. So this many kelvins. Suppose if you want to convert, so 273. Now how much? 37 plus 273.15. So 7, 280, 310. 310.15 Kelvin. Similarly, if you want to convert to degree Fahrenheit, so degree Fahrenheit, generally fever will use thermometer, so that is that will show reading in degree Fahrenheit, not degree Celsius. You will get 98.6, 100 for degree Fahrenheit. That is not degree Celsius, that is Fahrenheit. So degree Fahrenheit, if you want, so 9 by 5 into 37 plus 32. So I think you will get approximately 98.6. So 98.6 you will get, you calculate exactly. So like this we can convert degree Celsius temperature to Kelvin and degree Fahrenheit. So next, so these are the different physical quantities and the relation between them. Now I am ending the session here. Thank you.